Welcome to Pagan Crafting. I'm Kara, your local art and green witch. Today we're going to be doing Grimoire with me, and the spread is called Unlocking the Doors. This 4-page spread will include a garden spread. We will have a PDF download for the mantra for the lock, as well as the lock and the keys, and the mantra for the cosmic, as well as for the garden spread. So join me today as we make this new Unlocking the Doors Grimoire with me today. Today's Grimoire spread, I'm going to be looking for influences of the garden. I'd like a pathway. Looking for flowers. I'm also looking for all things to do with nebulas, universe, cosmic pictures, things that are going to invite you through the looking door. Ooh, I'll keep that one for later. There's some mountains I may use. Definitely going to use that whale and something I'm not quite sure yet. Definitely going to use this cosmic one. I love the universe. Ought to be the gods must be restless. Maybe I might use that. We shall see. Oh, here's some other universe stuff I could possibly use. All right, well, we'll see what I have here for now. What I've drawn here is a lock and key. I've drawn them both two different ways so they'll match up when we do our page spread. I also included unlocking the doors to your full potential for the vast universe and cosmic possibilities, as well as the boundless garden. We will get into that in just a moment, how we can rock it in this spread. So I'm going to cut out the lock part, the keyhole. And we're going to make a see-through spread. So these locks are mirrored. So one will go one way, and then on the flip side, I'll have the opposite. So you can position that on your paper, of course centering it, and then we're going to trace out the keyhole. You can put a cutting board or something like to cut on, like I'm just going to use an old magazine. So I wound up cutting 2 pages out and gluing them together. And then using the key locket itself on both sides of the page, lining them up. I don't quite glue them down yet because we're going to rock the background first. Now, because I'm doing a garden spread, of course, I'm going to bring in some greens for growing, for life, for beginnings. All things that are green seems to be like growing and growth and nature. I really try not to think about how I'm going to lay down the background colors, because I'm going to be building layers on top of this. I'm going to be building in some of my magazine pictures. I feel in the swirl just brings me a vortex into it. I don't know why I'm going lengthways on the other side, but it just feels right. Again, I always say no rhyme or reason, just feel the flow. Again, this is just going to be a background. So lay down your dominant color first. I am flowing a direction of kind of like a vortex going into the center. Adding in some creams along the way for some highlight colors. and in some lavenders for my opposite colors. Now, before I learned better, this was my third page into my grimoire. So I learned my lesson that when you glue the two pages together with your glue stick, to let it dry a good hour before painting it. As you see on the right hand page, I wound up getting wrinkles in the page. A little bit sad about that. And you know what? First I was a little choked, and then I was like, I'm just gonna embrace and decorate. All right, this is what it wants to be. It wants to bring in some verticals into my piece. I had planned a tree here, but I decided to change my mind and do some extra blending. I like painting with both hands, depending on the direction that I'm going. I'll switch back and forth to drawing in some verticals and trying to hide some of those wrinkle lines, and I like it. I like the colors that are raining down into it, adding some highlights and some contrast with some teals. I'm digging what I'm laying down. Again, just a lot of this is going to get covered up, so I just want some of these colors like poking through, jabbing through some of the colors of the magazine pictures I'm going to be working with. Usually when I do collages, I don't have anything in the background showing, but this grimoire journey's been a new for me. I love this pathway picture. I want you to be able to be drawn into the keyhole. What do we see? Where are we going down? I like this fairy realm, this ancient. Oh, for me, it just looks like I want to travel down into another time. So just play around with positions. I lucked out finding these ancient sites in these pictures along with the garden picture from a garden magazine and the other ones from the National Geographic. I love using a lot of ancient works and ancient stone works. I don't like things with like words and letters on it if I can avoid it. So later on I do add 4 words that were cut out from a magazine that I snuck in later. I also snuck in a little Alice in Wonderland later. Maybe you can find her on my intro that I didn't have in this main spread and this main while I was videoing this. So next up, that I brought out some pictures. Ooh, I like this one. Brought out some pictures from a Canadian garden magazine. I love hummingbirds, so we might bring those into it. I like this one. This was for a spa advertisement, but when you cut out all the human content to it, it just looks like maybe a magical wishing well. So I thought that would look cool into the garden. Bringing in some peonies, some other ones. Now it just, I don't know why pink started happening with this. Not intentional. And so I just went with it. I wound up digging out some more pink flowers. And just growing the garden with more. I'm really happy with this little wishing well. And building up the pictures, using magazine pictures. Maybe you'd like to print out some pictures from the internet. You may find some old books, some old flower books, if you don't mind digging into them. I prefer to use magazines or National Geographics because there's like hundreds and hundreds of one copy printed, so I don't feel as bad by digging into a book unless it's like super old and falling apart. Now this saying is going to be included on a PDF download. You'll get the lock and mirrored with the key with this saying. It's going to be available on Patreon and the Pagan Crafting Etsy store. What it says for the gardening, it says, unlocking the doors to your full potential is like discovering a boundless garden within yourself. Once the key turns and the gate swings open, you'll find a lush, vibrant landscape teeming with a variety of rare and beautiful flowers. Each bloom represents a unique talent or skill wanting to be nourished and cultivated. As you tend to this garden with care and dedication, you watch it flourish and creating a symphony of flowers and fragrances that enrich not only your life, but those around you. Where each thought and action becomes vibrant, a flourishing flower. Every step forward is a new path leading to uncharted beauty. Now I first cut this out on paper and found that it took too much room and it overcast the pictures I had. So I took overhead projector paper through my printer and I printed out the mantra, if you will, of the unlocking your door to your potential on a clear paper. Poking out just the bottom was cool. It said a new path leading. So I wound up squishing it over. So through the keyhole, you saw the words a new path leading. I thought that was kind of cool. Now I wound up fitting this in a little bit later into the corner. Again, I try not to do certain words, but I was really calling to just write it's in my nature. I thought that was so cool. Using double-sided scrapbooking sticky tape dudes. And if you don't do what I did, let the overhead projector ink dry overnight, 24 hours, 2 days if you have to. The ink takes a long time to dry on the plastic, and once you squish it down and wipe it down, it tends to smudge the ink if you're not patient enough. So just when you print it out on the overhead projector paper, give it a day or so before you glue it down. Now this next page, I'm feeling, there it is. Oh, it's not big enough to fit my drawing paper that I have here, but I feel that I can. Yeah, see, look at that. That's what I wanted to see through the keyhole. That's what I envisioned when I was first drawing this keyhole. This is going to be perfect. It doesn't quite fit, but I have a feeling that we're going to be able to match the paint. So let's glue this down with a healthy amount of glue, because I'm going to be using a lot of paint to match this up. And I'm going to show you it's not intimidating to do any type of universe paintings at all. I'm going to show you really quick and a super fun technique. And the time we're done, you won't even be able to tell where the paper stops and starts. And I need to hide that lettering on the bottom right hand corner too. So we're going to do a little cover up, if you will. Now always keep some paper between the pages as you're painting, because when you get to the edges, try to pull from the pages to the edge, not from the pages in, because you're going to dump a bunch of paint along the edges. Pull the paint away if you can. We're just going to cover that up. No worries at all. So we're just going to hit all of the edges and then blend it up into the little nebula page. You can even print out some nebulas and then match it up too. Because one thing I did do at the end of this, which I failed to mention at the end of this video, I wound up doing a high gloss Mod Podge over this entire spread. and then you didn't see the difference between the magazine shiny paper and then the flat paint paper. So you didn't see that contrast. Everything was a sheer and a shine, and it brought out more of the stars and more of the colors. It was really cool. So this is an odd color to choose, but it is actually in the paper that I'm working with. This color of beige is actually in behind this universe. So I'm going to like blend it over top of it and just keep bringing it in. I just keep doing little circles, circles. Doing a light brush over top. It doesn't matter if you lose some of it because we're going to do a lot of layers. Again, there's no right or wrong, just circles and layers. You want to make sure you don't see the lines of the page. So we're going to blend that in. There we go. A little bit more in that area. And it's funny enough, there's some browns coming off from this nebula. So let's bring it in. It was a little bit too light for me, so grabbing some black. I'm not changing my brush the whole time. If you've noticed, I haven't, you notice the colors are still melding together. I haven't used water or paper towel. I just keep going to the next color. One of my favorite techniques is a toothbrush. This is the best way to make stars, but we're going to bring in some depth with the black first. You want to thin out the paint and you don't want to put it on thick. So I am dipping it in water first and creating a fair bit of thin paint. Almost like when you mix watercolor. You don't want this thick at all to make this work. Bringing in some burgundies, some purples, overlaying, just having fun and doing a lot of layers. Now this is where it gets easy and heaps of fun. Grabbing some pink. I got a few blobs down there, no big deal. Let's just grab some paper towel. I was gonna make sure it's all done up, but I liked how the pink turned out. So I wound up adding more. And then I wound up adding more to the edges. And I'm just using paper towel, bringing in some color, blotching in some purples. Still not changing the paper towel, just folding it. Blending in the colors on the edges, rocking in some blues. Who's to say, who's to know what's happening? Just let it flow. Throw on some music and just trance out and have a great time. This is where you just, if you don't like it, just layer it over again. If you don't like it, paint it black, hit it again. Now thin out this quite a bit. Do a little test. You don't want big droplets coming down. Oh, look at that. See, that's so much fun. I could do this all day long. I love paintbrush painting. It's as fun as finger painting, I swear. It just involves a little bit more work and your thumb gets a little bit more tired. That sounds wrong, but we're gonna keep going. It's just a little bit more work instead of the paintbrush. Again, loads of layers. Now, I lost a little bit of footage, but I glued down this whale. I thought he was quite fitting because why would you not have a giant blue whale with like purple and blues and stars on his back, right? So he belonged in the universe cosmic picture. Now what I'm writing here is the next little mantra, and what this one says, and you can also get this in a PDF. They'll be in the PDF download that you can get on Patreon or Etsy. So you can unlock the doors to your full potential. It's like becoming a star in the vast universe of possibilities, where your brilliance illuminates the darkest corners and your light reaches far and wide, casting your unique light and radiance across the cosmic tapestry of life. So here I am playing with the keys. I was planning on having one key per page, but I never added the key to the garden spread, so that's cool. It changes. I also wanted this hummingbird on the other page too, but he wound up having a lot of the same colors as the whale, so I thought he needed a friend. Now, for me, in the cosmic tapestries of life, the whale represents the wisdom to me. The bird, the hummingbird, is busy, it's free. I'm in Aries, I'm moving, I have action. I have enough energy to light up a small village or small city, so the hummingbird represents me totally. Adding these keys and playing around is the mystery to unlocking my doors with the potential. I don't feel that dragonfly there, so I'm just going to play around with some more ideas. Just throw things down, move things around. Oh, I like the moons. I found some moon stickers I could use, or you can just print out some moons. And now I'm definitely feeling the moth. The moth to the moon. A silent creature, a beautiful creature. But I like the keys crossing. I dig on that. Now that this is dry, I wound up having to put, this is my second one that I put down, because the first one wound up, I wound up smudging it because I didn't know I had to wait a day for it to dry on the plastic. So my second attempt with unlocking the door mantra. This time I just more of it pressed it and hoped that I didn't squeeze it and squish it down and smudge it. I like how that turned out. Then I can enjoy the background of the picture. Let's bring in, this is kind of like a lime yellow, a mustard yellow, a very golden color. I thought with all the golds coming out through the flowers, this would look super sharp. Starting off with a wash of gold over everything. I'll wind up doing 2 layers with everything and letting it dry. I'm coming back into the background parts, not the curly cues of the ornate, but just giving that depth. So you can do a little layering here. Just coming back with the gold once again. So it wound up being a 3rd layer. Again, I'm just doing very, very, very thin layers. I did print this locket under, lock and key under cardstock paper, but it's still, when you're working with watercolors, to build up the layers. Now playing with some actual gold after that's dried again. Coming right in with my gold metallic. It's good to give a layer of the color that you're going to use first. Here I'm bringing in some metallic purple, some color changing purple onto the lock. Just the edge, just to kiss the edges ever so slightly. I wound up loving the look of the purple, that I just like, hey, let's go for it. This one's gonna have more of a purple flavor with the golds. And that'll help bring out the others, the flowers. It'll all coincide together and look sweet that way. So just highlighting it, having some fun as you go. Or you can just paint the edges if you'd like. You can also rock these in pencil crayon too. Watercolor pencil, and then just you can shade it all in with your watercolor pencil and just take some nice moon water over top of that. And yes, when I do paint, I paint with moon water every time, especially when I'm working on my grimoire. Just gotta give that little extra boost and enhancement. And I think this one was painted in the Hunter's Moon. The Hunter's Moon water. So with these color shift and metallics, it is a little harder to see, but they will come out once they draw out a little bit more. Now for our other side, it looks pretty bare here. We're going to do a wash of gold, again with the same lion yellow. Again, 2 layers of the wash, letting it dry between each. And while that's drying, I wound up toning down the moth. The white edges was just a little bit too brilliant against the black of the universe style. And we're going to grab some golden hues on our keys. Again, when I'm using the metallics or my color shift paints, I do like to paint an undercoat underneath. Then you don't have to do so many layers of the expensive color shift and metallics as well. Now rocking in, after I got the golds here, this key lock, one key is going to be purple, one's going to have the green kick to it, and the lock itself is going to have, or did I do purple? Yeah, sorry, purple and green. And then the lock itself, I'm going to do a lot more reds in it. Rocking in the green metallic that I've used so many times on my channel. It is so beautiful. I think I'm addicted to this green. I could eat it. It is such a gorgeous metallic green. It has these gold hues in it, and I'm not even a gold girl, but this color, it's like this mossy green, is so brilliant. It's so beautiful. Now coming in with some metallic reds, and I have some color shift reds that I'm playing with too. And mixing in some oranges with the color shift red, doing a fiery feel. And bringing in some purples over top of the reds will always give that punch of a fiery color to it without, instead of using black over red, use purple over red. And it creates a really gorgeous burgundy or kind of a royal purple or royal red. And I think it gives it more dimension and depth and shadowing than having to straight up use some black or gray. Every color that I use for me has a meaning. I may not always say it every time I'm painting, but I choose my colors. I'm so picky when it comes to my colors. I do definitely choose what I want to feel. Even on my my garden page, like it wasn't much of a background, much of a painting, but I just knew the colors that I wanted to invoke and what they meant to me. Now this color shift purple is so gorgeous that it's going to pick up some blue hues in there too. So throwing that down on the whale. And this is the reveal, and I want to squeeze it. Look, there's a little Alice in Wonderland around the wishing well. I'm super pleased how this turned out, and I love the unlocking the door to your full potential feel. A very easy spread, not much to it, just lots of love and lots of layers. You can throw down whatever you like, as much as you like or as little as you like. But it's fun to whatever is coming through the other door. You can either download the PDF that I have or make up your own, unlocking the door to your own potential saying of the cosmic tapestry of your life. Well, thanks so very much for joining me today, and always it is a pleasure to grimoire with you.